Summer's off, listeners. The summer might be winding down, but we're still heating up with 2 more episodes.
It feels like
for
we're
you.
winding down as well.
We're winding down
the
as
summer
well.
may be winding down, but we are also winding down.
You know what else is winding down? This season. Yes, we only have 2 episodes left because we start work. We got to go back to work, you guys.
I know.
It's work, school, all of it. It's all happening.
And let me just tell you guys this. I wish we didn't have to go back to work. I wish that we could just spend our whole lives together, us and the listeners, in this studio closet, and then we could just have fun all year round watching movies, saying crazy stuff that we're going to regret later. And I wish we could just live this life together. It kind of bums me out that we have to all work.
Yeah.
Wait, have you guys been working this whole time? If you guys have had to work the whole summer, I feel bad for you.
Apologies,
I'm sorry.
you guys. But yeah, I mean, if you want us to not work, I mean, we could get like some cool sponsorships. We could do this forever. This could be like our backup plan.
Yeah, how about this? What should we sell you? Like, what do you want to buy from us?
What should we advertise?
We can advertise things. I just need to know what you want to buy. Like, do you need groceries? We could do groceries on here. You buy them through us. We get a little 10% cut. Maybe we drop them off at your house because there's nobody to do it.
I don't know.
Yeah, something to think about.
I am glad that we watched this movie, though, because I'll be honest, for me, this was a really big pick-me-up.
Yeah.
You're
really down after Lethal Weapon? You're just like,
Lethal Weapon
man, I'm just
got me down, as only Mel Gibson
so
can.
depressing.
No, this movie that we watched this week sparked a lot of joy for me. More joy than I thought it was going to.
Oh, man. It is a blast from the past.
Yeah.
I had a lot of Can't Hardly Wait-isms. Like, while we were watching it, I was like, oh, my gosh, the style and everything. And you'll have to tell me what year it came out because I don't even know.
Oh, can't wait to tell you.
To me, it feels like 96, and Can't Hardly Wait was 98. And so I just felt like, oh, we're right in that time period. This is awesome.
Yeah. Ty, what movie did we watch this week?
We watched a little movie named Less Clue. I can't think of anything clever.
Yeah.
I tried to, like, on the spot, just wing it, and it was a fail.
I said it for you, and you biffed it.
You know how, like, when you set it sometimes, and you're going for the spike, but you kind of, like, nick it on the side of your hand, and then you look like a goof?
You just spun it.
Yeah, that's what happened.
You gave it a spin. We watched Clueless.
Yep.
1995. So you're really close with the 96 feel. Yep,
Okay.
95. We would have been in 2nd grade.
Well, 2 of the guys in it were 2 of the guys in Can't Hardly Wait as well.
Yeah.
The good dude from Scrubs.
Yes.
And then the guy who's
His name is Donald Faison, I think. Faison.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the guy from Road Trip. The main guy from Road Trip.
Yes.
Who they were in the band and Can't Hardly Wait, and then they broke up and they got back together again and stuff.
Yes, his name is Brecken Meyer.
Yes.
We're talking about these guys. I had to write all their names down.
And so seeing those 2 guys in this too, I was like, oh, how fun is that? They're back. This is great.
For sure. Yeah, it was great. And everybody was, it's like a first for a lot of people. This movie was. They were babies. Some of them were pretty close to the actual age of high schoolers at that time.
Wow.
So
okay. Sweet.
How cool is that?
Pretty cool.
Yes. So let's just get into it. Ty, tell me just the synopsis in case anyone has not seen Clueless or it's been a while. They need a little refresher course. Give us just a paint with broad strokes.
Okay, sure. So there is a gal who is in high school, which is funny because when the movie started, I forgot what age they were. I was like, are you guys in like a prep school thing, like after high school, kind of like Cruel Intentions?
Sure.
Or it's like, okay, no, we're in high school. And so she's in high school and she is driven by she likes to convince people to do things. Her dad's a lawyer, and she has that same quality to be able to like convince somebody to like give her a better grade or whatever her task is at hand. But she finds this calling that she likes to like hook people up. She likes to help people find love, and it's a way that like she doesn't concentrate on herself. It fulfills all her like life goals about like getting stuff done, and it makes her feel good as a human being. So she starts like hooking these couples up, and then like craziness ensues, and Yeah, well, we'll get into some of this stuff later on, so I won't spoil anything if you want to stop it now and go watch Clueless again. But it's basically the story of Emma.
Yes, it is loosely based on Jane Austen's novel Emma, which
Mm-hmm.
is just one of my faves. I love it.
You were in Emma.
I was in Emma. I was in the play. I was the character Mrs. Weston, who is a combo of the character Dion, if you know who that is.
That's her best friend,
her best
right?
friend, and then
Not Brittany Murphy, the other best friend.
Yep, and then also the English teacher that she
Yes.
hooks up with the other
With
teacher.
the guy from Princess Bride, the
Yes.
guy with the cups or the poison guy.
Yes. So love this play, love this movie. I just think the story is so fun. And I think the actors do a great job in it. So you might be thinking like, oh great, Ty and Rach are gonna go on another love fest. And you know what? You're right. It is gonna be a love fest, but I have some fun stories along the way
Oh,
that
yeah, you
maybe
do.
you do or you don't know.
How do you
So-
know it's going to be a love fest for me? You don't know that.
I do know that.
No.
You and I were just like laughing back and forth constantly throughout the whole movie.
I actually didn't think this movie was that funny.
Stop.
I
You
didn't.
had a smile on your face the whole time.
It was more of a smiler than a laugher.
I don't know. I think you thought it was pretty funny.
All right, well, you might be surprised.
Oh, now you're gonna be spiteful. Come on.
I don't know, man.
I thought I had a good read. but-
No, I don't think so. This is like Goonies for me.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
not. It's
I
like overrated
didn't,
for you.
Yeah, I just didn't grow up with it. Like it was not the
Stop.
same.
You love it. Whatever. Can you remember the first time that you saw Clueless?
I saw it right around when it came out. I remember
when
being
you were in
young.
second grade.
No, probably not that, but like fourth grade. I think I
Okay.
saw it like before middle school.
Sure.
I was early to the game.
Yeah, you were.
Mhm.
Boy, I'm trying to think of when I saw this. It was either like fifth grade, so like late elementary for me, or middle school. I'm guessing it was closer to middle school for
So
me.
you know why I probably saw it earlier than you. One
Hmm.
of two reasons. Number one of my best friends, Jeff, he has an older brother and sister, so we could have
Sure.
watched it over there.
Sure.
Also, we had HBO and Cinemax. So
Oh,
during the
yeah.
day in the summers, you would just watch Wimbledon tennis and movies all day long. That's how you lived your life. And then you pull out
Yeah.
your Virtual Boy. Do you remember the Virtual Boy?
I didn't have any video games.
Well, I
growing
know
up.
you probably
Is
didn't
that
play
a video
it.
game?
Yeah, it was made by Nintendo. It's this little
Okay.
red thing. You put your eyes in it. You can only do it for 15-minute stints, otherwise your eyes can get damaged permanently.
Wait, what?
This Virtual Boy. Everything was 3D at the time. Imagine you went from a Game Boy to this Virtual Boy, and everything was black and red. Like it was
Oh.
black background with red lines,
Uh-huh.
and everything was like 3D, and it'd pop out at you, and you'd play like Mario Tennis on Virtual Boy or like these random games.
But you could
I used to play
only...
this robot boxing game that I loved. It was awesome. So you do that, you watch Clueless, Weekend at Bernie's 2, and then you watch Wimbledon all day long. That's how you lived your life.
That's
Or
fascinating.
that gnome movie that I told you about that one time.
What?
There was that gnome. Oh gosh, is it Norm the gnome? I showed you a
Oh,
picture of it.
This is sounding vaguely familiar
Yeah.
now. This is really creepy, wasn't it?
He
The
looks
gnome?
creepy, but I loved him as a kid. He was cutie.
Interesting.
You watch Fraggle Rock, Passions, the soap opera. You do a lot of things in the summer. If you're me.
A lot of daytime TV
There's a lot
going
of
on.
there's a lot of stuff to be done.
Awesome. Oh,
So you were in middle school?
probably, yeah, either like fifth grade or because I'm trying to think. I would have watched it probably at a sleepover or something like that.
Had we possibly seen each other at the Dare Dance in 5th grade?
I mean, that's possible.
I don't-
Our paths might have already crossed at this point. Fate might have been, the silly girl that she is, and like had us look at each other from across the giant gymnasium that night,
Yep.
and just think like, hey, wouldn't that be crazy to go back to your fifth grade
and
self
see
and
like
say,
we
hey,
passed right by each
your
other. or
future
something.
spouse is somewhere in this room.
Yes. And I know you'd be like, yes, it's so and so who I'm crushing on really bad. And be like, no, it's not him at all, actually.
I
In
would.
fact, if you go and
I
you see
totally
this
would.
kid when he's in 5th grade, you will be a little unimpressed and you'll be like, oh, that's who it's going to be.
It's probably best that didn't happen because I would have felt that was my calling instead, and I would have like made sure that I married somebody else that I
Well,
was crushing on at that time.
at
I would
this-
have been determined.
At this Dare Dance, because we were from separate towns, but we shared this Dare Dance
Yep,
together.
in fifth grade.
So I always say that I think it would be fun to go back and to inhabit my younger self in 5th grade and to walk up to you and just say, someday I'm going to marry you. And then walk away. And then later on, like I tell this story, I'm like, yeah, when I was at a Dare Dance, I saw this girl I thought was so pretty. I thought she was like the love of my life. I walked right up to her and I said, someday I'm going to marry you. And then you go, that was me.
Oh,
How cool would that have been?
that would have been so cool.
Let's tell our kids that happened.
Okay, deal.
So, Summer's
do
Off
it.
listeners, I need you in on the joke.
Everyone who needs to be in on this. From now on, truce. Okay.
Yes.
Love it. Oh, I feel like I could just talk about the Dare Dance all night, but let's get back to Clueless.
Cool.
For slow dance to Shania Twain.
You're the one I want.
That's exactly what it was. You know, you were there.
Oh, I
you
know. I love that music video.
All right, let me give you some taglines. I only have 2 taglines for this movie.
Oh, okay.
And they're both leave a lot to be desired,
Sure.
personally. All right, here's the first one. This is the one that was actually on the movie cover. Sex, clothes, popularity. Is there a problem here?
What?
I know.
Well, because the sex thing isn't fair, because actually, from a sex perspective, this movie's very tame.
Oh, yeah.
And
most of the characters are
virgins.
or
they talk about sex, but like it's not part of her characterization at all.
No, it's not. I don't know.
She was gonna lose her virginity in that one scene. She was prepped for it. But like the sex is not a main standpoint in this movie.
I would agree. It's not like an over-sexualized
movie. Can you say
I can, or I can just tell you the next one, because it's the same thing.
Okay.
Sex, clothes, popularity, whatever.
Why isn't it love? Why can't it be love instead of sex?
Hey.
Because that makes way more sense with this movie. It's about finding love.
Yeah. What I'll say is that, and I can't remember who was disappointed. It might have been the director, but when the cover came out of the movie with Alicia Silverstone and like the, I mean, it's an iconic. The plaid is iconic, but if you think the cover of the movie is her in this red dress and she's got this like white feather boa around her, and she's got like the ditzy look with the phone, but she's like uber like sexed up. And I think I remember I did not do research for this podcast, but earlier I remember the director saying something like she was disappointed by that because it painted her character in a way that's not really true to who Cher is as a character.
For sure.
I mean, that's a side of it, and I think she might wear that dress at some point in the movie, but it just like makes it like way too sexualized. It's like, that's not really what this movie is about.
No.
This is about teens. I mean, I think it's a really great teen movie.
Absolutely. It is.
Yeah. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, because I don't think of this movie as overly sexualized. Yeah, there's a lot of midriffs, but there's a lot of midriffs in that time period. So, like, to me, it's just like going home again, you know? Back to the 90s. Here we go.
Here we go.
And so it didn't bother me at all, and it didn't feel overly sexualized, I didn't think.
Yeah. Those are some crappy taglines, is what I'll say.
They are. Those are crap.
For a movie that is chock full of great quotes,
lines. Oh my
great
gosh.
one-liners. I wrote down so many.
All there is like amazing one-liners in this movie.
I know. And
You didn't steal any of them?
They're clever one-liners, too,
yes.
I'll say. All right, but let me get back to the making of this, and then we'll have a whole section of like our favorite one-liners.
Sure.
Perfect. All right. So the director/writer of this movie, Amy Heckerling, was also famous for Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Okay.
Director for that.
Yep.
European Vacation.
Okay.
And Look Who's Talking. Have you ever seen Look Who's Talking?
I have.
Oh,
yep.
darn it.
I like Look Who's Talking too, because at the beginning scene, it scared me as a kid with the toilet that talks and the teddy bears grow like long pointy fingernails and stuff. Because everything scares him because he's afraid of going to the bathroom.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
And then the toilet's like, oh, I'm going to eat your pee-pee or whatever. It's so funny, but it's also scary.
That's very scary. I had like repressed that memory.
Yep.
Thanks for bringing that back.
For sure.
Well, she had already done Fast Times at this point.
Okay.
And so the production company came to her and said, hey, we want you to make a TV show about the in crowd in high school. And she was like, I'll make it, but like, can I make fun of them? And
sure.
they're like, yes, you may. You're allowed to do that. So she decided at that point that she was going to loosely base it on Emma. That story. She loved Jane Austen.
And it was going to be a TV show to start?
It was going to be a TV show to start.
Okay.
These are some of the names of what the TV show is going to be called, and just think of how much different this movie would be.
Sure.
One of the TV show options was called No Worries.
Okay. Lame.
Or I Was a Teenager.
No, that's stupid.
Those
Why couldn't it be called As If? You know what I mean?
Sure.
That would have been a cool name for a TV show.
Yeah. Well, for the lingo, she spent time in Beverly Hills high schools and hanging out with students so that she could get the lingo and like add to it. I think there's a couple of pieces too that she
Like,
kind
what
of
did she do with these high schoolers? What do you mean? She hung out with them?
She hung out with high schoolers.
She's like, hey, what are you guys doing now?
What are you doing?
You guys want to go to a party or something?
You guys want to?
With a bunch of 40-year-olds?
It does sound kind of weird, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think you just had to sit in a classroom and just like soak it in and just listen. You can sit in the back of a classroom, you hear all kinds of things.
Well, let's talk about their classrooms.
Oh.
Their classrooms needed a lot of behavior management. There was a lot of behaviors that were happening in there that I was like, you got to stamp those out. What are you guys doing?
We talk about kids having troubles with phones now. This movie,
they had way more problems with phones.
And they were terrible phones.
And they had
huge phones.
And they had big headphones on. Mm-hmm. Like, you should be able to see it right away and be like, hey, so-and-so, take your headphones off.
All the girls had bandages on their noses because they just got nose jobs.
Which is so funny.
That was
they'd have chin bandages on. They always had plastic surgery, like, walking around. It was so funny.
So great.
Fine. Amber?
Miss Stoger, my plastic surgeon doesn't want me doing any activity where balls fly at my nose.
Well, there goes your social life.
Well, at any rate, so she had written this script, right? And at this point, she also changed agents. And so her new agent read through it and was like, hey, what have you been working on? And he told her, you know what? This is too good for TV. This needs to be a movie. And so then they began the process of pitching it to different production companies. And this went back and forth for about a year. Some of the production companies came back and were like, oh, you have like too many female leads focused. Like, I'm not really into that.
League of Their Own
thing.
was in 92. It's been 3 years. How much more do you guys need? Seriously.
I just love that was like a reason. They're like, I just a movie about like fashion in high school. Boring.
Boys don't want to see teenage girls.
Yeah, stop. I think the other thing too is that there weren't a lot of teen movies around this time. So like we had John Hughes, and then we had kind of this like drought of teen movies.
We had a dearth of them, and you called me out for saying dearth multiple times in that episode.
I did, didn't I?
We had a dearth of teenage movies.
Does that mean a drought of teenage?
Yeah,
not.
It
sounds like it would be. It sounds like it would be the opposite, doesn't it?
We had a plethora.
A plethora. I'm not gonna do that quote. At one point, then, a producer named Scott Rudin, doesn't matter, not that important to get the name right, but he liked the script, and he was the person who kind of, like, gave it the stamp of approval that all of a sudden other production companies were like, oh, yeah, this is great. He had done Addams Family, Sister Act, First Wives Club. He was a big producer at that time.
I wonder if he helped her dad get cast, because if he did Addams Family, her dad is the antagonist in the first Addams Family.
What?
Yeah.
Is he? He's also in First Wives Club.
Oh, yeah, he plays Bette Midler's wife?
Yeah.
Or husband?
Yeah, Morty.
Yep, he's married to the young girl, right?
I didn't know he was in Addams Family. That's so funny.
I'm almost positive.
Interesting.
Yep.
But he's definitely in First Wives.
Oh,
so
for sure.
We know this to be sure. That actor, who I didn't write his name down, but he said that working on Clueless was one of the funnest experiences ever. He had a great time.
Well, are you going to talk about him later, or can we just talk about him now?
So talk about him now.
Okay, so what I love about his character is he pulls off being harsh and being kind of the asshole dad, but also being a loving father who truly does love his daughter in a perfect way. Like, he doesn't go too far with it. He doesn't pull back too much. He walks that tightrope so well. It was incredible. Like, I would say things like, oh, he's kind of an asshole. Why is she so sweet to him? Oh, because he's sweet to her in his own, like, weird way.
Sure.
Like, yeah, he'll be like, get out of my chair or whatever to Brittany Murphy and be like, that's my chair. When are you going to start doing stuff for your life or whatever? And then he'll be like, how are we going to talk our way out of these bad grades? And, like, he's trying to, like, help her out and strategize and stuff.
He's a very proud dad.
Yep.
But yeah, he's very good with boundaries too. He's like, Cher, what do you call that? She's like, a dress. Who says? Calvin Klein.
Go throw something over top. And then she's like, I was going to, Dad.
Just going to. And it's like a sheer. Sorry, that was a little insidery. Oh, anyways, Scott Rudin loved it, gave a stamp of approval. I also should say he later went on to produce things like No Country for Old Men, Zoolander, a lot of Wes Anderson films. So he's kind of
an eye for talent.
Yeah, and that's exactly right.
I mean, No Country for Old Men and Zoolander, those are awesome movies.
Yeah. So with his stamp of approval, it finally got made. Now we get to get into casting.
Yes.
Oh, casting. So fun.
Is it as bad as the Lethal Weapon casting for Riggs, where it was like 18,000 people who were up for it?
I don't have that. Well, I have a lot for Cher.
Yeah. I'm assuming you do.
Yeah. So here's the thing, though. I'm trying to... let me tell you who was all considered for it first, and then I'll tell you the fun story about Alicia Silverstone.
Okay.
So people that were considered for Cher, some of these... women auditioned, and some of them were just thought of like, oh, hey, this chick in this movie would be good. Because at this point, with Scott on board, they can pretty much do whoever they want, right? So people who had auditioned, Carrie Russell.
Okay.
Tiffany Thiessen.
Tiffany Thiessen.
Saved by the Bell.
Oh, Kimberly.
Yeah.
Yes. She was the first person on my door when I was I was 5 years old. I had this hot picture of Kimberly from Saved by the Bell on my door.
Oh, yeah. Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh,
Did not read for it, but was considered.
I wonder what she had done at that point.
She had done it was a random flick at that time.
Yeah,
So, but she was very good.
Shakespeare in Love was 99.
Who else here? Oh, Angelina Jolie.
Dumb. She was in Hackers. She would not have fit this role at all.
She didn't, and the casting director actually mentioned that too. She's like, I think she might have read for some of it, and she's like, she's good, but she's not. She's not Cher.
No, not at all.
Cher is the main character.
She would never be able to pull it off.
The casting director later went on to use her in
Alexander.
No, it was very early.
Come touch my snakes, Philippe.
I can't remember what it was, but it was like one of her first like bigger movies. She later was used on that. So, anyways,
okay.
And the last one, Reese Witherspoon, who I think actually would have been pretty good at Cher.
Well, you saw her doing it in Legally Blonde. She played a similar character.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably what she would have done.
Mm-hmm.
But let me just already
but
go on
even
record.
Younger, this would have been like pre-Cruel Intentions.
I know, because Cruel Intentions I think was 98.
Mm-hmm.
So this would have been. Well, let me just say this right off the bat. This movie is 1,000 times better than Legally Blonde. 1,000 times. In fact, this movie, the fact it came out before Legally Blonde should be ashamed of themselves because their movie should be way better. Because Clueless set you up for success, and then you just flopped. Legally Blonde, how do you suck so bad when this movie did everything you needed to do?
That is funny. I hadn't really thought about the connections between
They're
those
similar.
two characters, but they are very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. I had never thought about that before.
Which one do you like better, Rach?
I like this better.
Yeah,
Solid.
that's what I thought.
solidly.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
Boom. Boosh. Blonde fans.
So Alicia Silverstone, before she got cast as this, she had done some music videos for Aerosmith. I don't know if you had seen her in any of those. There's the song Crazy.
Yep, I have actually.
Yeah, so she's in them.
She's running around with Liv Tyler, I think. Aren't they? Are they together or not? Am I thinking of a different?
Not Crazy. Crying. Crying is the one. Wrong song. I don't think so.
They're
think
not
Liv,
in that same video?
No, they're
Okay.
in different ones.
Okay.
Yeah, Liv
Yeah, maybe
Tyler
I'm
is
just
like
confusing them
later,
altogether.
and Alicia was earlier. There was two, and one of them was Crying.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think
okay.
of how that song goes. How's Crying go, Ty?
I don't know.
Shoot.
Crying.
No, that's not like. Anywho, she had also done a movie called The Crush at this point too, so she was pretty young.
Not Blue Crush.
No,
Don't
not
confuse
Blue Crush,
the two.
just The Crush.
Just The Crush. Which Blue Crush, by the way, is leaving HBO now, or Max. So if you want to watch it, you better get on there and watch
it. Oh my gosh. So the director went to the casting director, and she was like, I know the perfect person who I want in this. I want the girl in the Aerosmith videos.
She didn't know her name.
She didn't know her name. And then, well, not off the top of her head. And then the casting director said, like, no. I need to show you the girl. This is the girl. She's in the movie The Crush. This is who you need. They didn't realize they were talking about the same person. Oh, isn't that crazy?
That is wild.
Yeah. Which makes so much sense, though, because, like, hearing her and seeing her in this character, she just is so well-suited for this.
But I'm sure in that Aerosmith video, because I can kind of picture her, she's just playing like a sexy heartthrob, like running around.
Yeah, but
and
she's
stuff.
still kind of like pretty innocent, I think. She's like
the
hair
innocence
flips.
for sure.
Yeah, the director had mentioned like when she met with her to talk with her at a restaurant, like she had like a Coke with a straw and she like put her head down to like sip out of it.
She's
and she's
like
you're
goofy
just like
and
she's like a
quirky.
little kid.
Yep.
She's like, I just want to take care of you. You're so sweet. So super naive.
I
like,
thought that was
she
really
just
funny
captured it.
in the movie, by the way, when she carried on that Diet Coke with the straw in it. I thought it was so funny. She takes sips out of
why
it.
did you think that was so funny?
I don't know. Just whenever somebody drinks, it's usually a Diet Coke,
Sure.
and they have a straw.
Yep.
I just think that's a really hilarious image to me.
For like a lipstick thing, I bet.
Oh,
or just
probably.
like not wanting to get the Coke on your teeth because
Yeah.
it's not great for your teeth.
Sure. Okay.
I should drink more straws.
Drink more straws, Rach.
Drink with more straws. So, Alicia Silverstone was one of the first people cast, and she had to read opposite a lot of people to get the good mishmash.
Mm-hmm.
So, her best friend, Dion, who was played by Stacey Dash.
Yep.
Another person who was up for that role, Lauryn Hill.
Lauryn Hill.
You know Lauryn Hill?
I don't think so.
I mean, movie-wise, she's not in a ton, but she was in Sister Act 2, if you remember that.
Okay.
And she's also a rapper.
Okay.
She sang. Oh, you don't know Lauryn.
Sorry.
You don't know who Lauryn Hill is?
No, I can't picture her in Sister Act 2.
I feel
can
like-
picture all the kids.
Yeah.
Is she one of the kids?
She's like the main kid.
That's funny because I can picture
She's
the main
gorgeous. She's just
main younger dude who
gorgeous.
sings that cool solo in that movie.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we need to
It's been a
work
while since I saw
on
Sister Act 2.
your education there. So apologize, listeners. I will do better. For the part of Josh, who was played by our very own Paul Rudd.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't he wonderful?
I love him so much. I
No,
really
I
do.
love him so much.
No, see, that's another one. Like, we talk about James Marsden, and I know I would be friends with James Marsden, but I know I would be in best friends. You need to make sure I never meet him because he would become my best friend. I just
lovely.
know it. And oh my gosh, a couple times people have told me that I remind them of Paul Rudd in real life or on stage, and I'll be honest, it's the biggest compliment I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, I'm blushing right now just thinking about when I've gotten
you're
this.
tearing up a little bit too. It's so sweet.
It is an amazing thing to say to me. Like, I'm always just like, oh my gosh, you could not be more kind right now. I think he is the coolest.
High compliment.
I just think he's the coolest. He's one of my favorite actors of all time. He's definitely top 5, probably a top 3.
Yeah, I mean, just in the Hots perspective, he's number 2, maybe number 1 for me.
Yeah.
It's funny though. After I'll just pause for the casting talk. Just gotta go on a little Paul Rudd tangent.
Sure.
A man who just gets better and better looking at
He
with
really
age.
does.
I remember thinking when I first saw this that the guy was cute in the movie, but not to the same extent that Paul Rudd is now. And he is cute, but he is even hotter now.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's a hot 48-year-old man now.
Yeah.
And back then he was a cute 25-year-old who was still a great actor though, even at a young age. He is a great actor in this. He's so charming, he's funny, but he's natural. I love him. I just love him.
This was technically his first movie. He had filmed the Halloween, which was earlier before this, but this was released before. So technically this is his first film credit, but Halloween, The Legend of Michael Myers, I think is the tag on it.
Yeah,
I don't know who he was in it. Who knows?
5 or 6?
Gosh, probably. Ugh.
I can't remember. But yeah,
Anyways,
I know what you're talking about.
He had just finished and wrapped that up, but he had also at the same time been reading for this back and forth, and he actually for a while didn't think that he got it because it had been so long, and so he ended up cutting his hair. He ended up almost shaving his head, and then he ran into the director at a restaurant, and she's like, "What did you do to your hair?" And he's like, I don't know, I just you can just imagine him just big smile, and he's like, I didn't think I got it. I hadn't heard from you in a long time. And she's like, no, I'm very much thinking of you. I just had to get some things wrapped up. What did you do? So anyway, he had to grow his hair back.
Well, he got back in shape.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it was a wig. I should check, but I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
It looks real to me.
I don't think it could have been.
But think about how different it would have been had the character of Josh been played by
Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, that's funny.
Gross.
That's really funny though. No, he's
awful.
too obviously hot.
Well, yeah, that would have been awful.
Leo's more of the Christian character who's
for
this
sure.
hot guy who comes in, but he's actually
Looks
gay.
like James Dean.
Yes, we'll talk about him. But for the part of Josh, Ben Affleck read.
Okay.
And Zach Braff read.
Oh, gotcha.
I think Zach Braff would have been an interesting choice, and it would have been cool to see him and Donald What's-His-Butt together ahead of Scrubs.
Yeah, for sure.
So
that would have been
They
cool.
have great chemistry. But, I mean, Paul Rudd
for
the win.
Easy style. And Ben Affleck would have been boring, and I would not have liked that. Ben Affleck's a good actor, but that's not the right role for him.
But there is a charm that only Paul Rudd's dimples can give.
And part of it is his innocence.
Yeah.
Because when we get to the complicated section, if it was Ben Affleck, that whole part would have been awkward and weird and rapey. But Paul Rudd keeps it innocent. Let's get there later.
Do you want to get there later?
I want to get there later. I want it towards the end of the podcast.
All right, just hold on, listeners. If you're like, wait, what are they talking about?
You'll know.
There's something about the relationship that feels a little ooh, hey, what's that about? Anyways, we'll get there. You might remember. You might not. For the part of Murray, played by Donald Fraser. God, I need to make sure I'm saying that right. I have his name written on this notepad somewhere, but I can't find it. So I'm just going to call him DF for
Which
a
one's
while.
DF? Donald Fraser. Which one? Who is that?
Murray
Which one's Murray?
is the token black character.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Sorry, I had to say it. I mean,
no,
this is probably also problematic with
Leah's. Is her name Leah's boyfriend?
the girl, Dion?
Dion.
Dion.
Dion's
Yeah,
boyfriend.
you have to remember it this way. Cher and Dion, this is like a quote from the movie, were both named after like style and music icons of like the 70s, but they now do infomercials.
Oh,
So Cher
okay.
and Dion Warwick, Cher.
Okay, gotcha.
That's why they're friends. For that role, Dave Chappelle was considered, and
Sure.
also Terrence Howard. were
Okay.
considered.
Yep.
And Terrence Howard and Donald F. are also were really, really good friends too at the time. So it was kind of like, ooh, I hope you get it. I hope you get it, bud.
Have I ever seen Terrence Howard do anything funny though? I think he's very serious as an actor.
That's a great question.
I can't picture him
there
doing
might
anything
be
funny.
something, but I'm not thinking of it
I'm not
right
to
now.
say he couldn't pull it off because I've never seen it, but yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. That's curious.
That is really funny because the part of Maria is so funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love he and Dion's chemistry, and their relationship is hilarious to me.
When I see this Kmart extension in the back of your car or whatever, and he's like, it looks like one of your little twisty things right there on your head. She's like,
I don't wear cheap synthetic hair. I do not wear polyester braids.
Woman, why don't you be answering any of my pages?
I hate when you call me
Where you
woman.
been all weekend? What's up? You jeeping behind my back?
Jeepin'.
Jeeping.
No, but speaking of vehicular sex, perhaps you can explain how this cheap Kmart hair extension got into the backseat of your
I
car.
don't know where that came from. That looks like one of your little stringy something or another's you got up in your hair.
I do not wear polyester hair, okay? Unlike some people I know, like Shawana.
Why do you gotta
That's
go
it.
there?
I've
Why
had
do you
it
gotta
with
go
you.
there?
So great. Oh, this is a fun one. So for the part of Amber's the redhead,
Yep.
kind of the
Asshole.
blah of the group. I don't know. We don't know why she's really friends with them. Like she kind of
it's more like a rival.
She gets kind of bullied by Cher and Dion all the time, but she still hangs out with them all the time, and
Yep.
vice versa. She bullies too. But at any rate, she's in their group. Kind of. Get this. Sarah Michelle Gellar was considered for it, but she couldn't get out of her. I think she was in All My Children at that
Okay.
time. Anyway, some soap opera contract that wouldn't let her leave.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
She would have been really interesting in that role. I think I would have liked that.
Yeah, I don't know. The director said she's just wickedly beautiful is how she described
Sarah
her.
Michelle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which she is.
Oh,
I just
for
think she's
sure.
just got a look about her that she was so
She's
intrigued
striking
by.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, she would have been interesting in that role. And then also Zooey Deschanel, who I don't know what she was up and doing around this point. She seemed a little too doe-eyed and sweet for the role of Amber.
Yep.
It'd be really hard to picture her.
Yeah, but then again, Rachel McAdams, she killed Mean Girls when she played that role you never thought she would play.
That's true.
So it
That's
could have been
true.
good. But yeah, you're right. Zoe
could have
Deschanel,
been.
I don't assume would play a character like that.
It'd be tough. All right, and now the last one I'll tell you about is the part of Travis, who is played by Breckin Meyer.
Yep.
Breckin Meyer is in Road Trip,
Yep.
is in
He's a skater
Can't
boy in
Hardly
this
Wait.
movie.
Yeah, yep. You guys would recognize him
Yep.
if you just Google him.
I think he's pretty funny. I like him as an actor.
Yeah, one of his best friends was also up for the role, Seth Green.
Oh, him and
Seth
Seth. Yeah, for
Green!
sure. Of
Did you
course,
see
they're
them?
best friends.
Yeah.
Yep. And I could totally see Seth Green playing a skater boy, just like he played that gangster guy in Can't Hardly Wait. That makes sense to me.
So great.
Yep.
Yes, so that was kind of the gist of some of the casting shenanigans that happened. It just would be such a different movie
Oh, for sure.
had that happen.
Yep.
All right. Let me think. What do we want to talk about next? I have random trivia facts. Oh, should we talk about Alicia Silverstone? Should we talk more about Paul Rudd? Do you want to talk about the fashion? What should we talk about
Let's
next?
talk about Alicia Silverstone.
All right. So at first, she did not like the character of Cher. She thought she was too materialistic. And then she realizes as she was reading it that she was really being very judgy of Cher instead of just being delighted by her.
You have to be an advocate for your character.
Exactly. And I think I love that she said that instead of being delighted by her, because I think the character of Cher is really delightful.
For sure.
I think, yes, definitely self-centered, but that's, if you know Emma, that's the character.
That's what Emma is like.
She's self-centered. She's
badly
egotistical.
done, Emma. Badly done indeed.
It's your favorite quote.
Mr. Knightley or
Mr.
Mr. Darcy?
Knightley.
Mr.
Knightley is Emma. Darcy
Yep.
is Pride and Prejudice.
Oh,
Come on.
badly done, Emma. Badly done indeed.
Someday.
I want to play it.
You'd be so great as Mr.
I do.
Darcy,
I want to play
Mr.
or
Darcy,
Mr. Knightley.
or
Either
Mr.
one.
Knightley.
I
You'd be
would
great at both.
I'd like to play both of them, and I'm starting to get into that age range.
Yeah,
so here we
girl.
go, baby.
Heyo.
Phone lines are open.
Let me know. She grew to love how serious and sincere Cher was, which
Yeah.
I think
Oh yeah, she's sweet.
she's so sweet, and she is well-meaning, and I think the selfishness too that comes through is so perfect for a teen movie because I think I looked at this movie really different now as an adult than I did the last time I watched this. I feel like I haven't seen this in years. And there's something about like watching a teen movie and just really picking up on all of those like egotistical things that we all do when we're teens.
We do, and we think we're invincible, and we think the world centers around us, for sure.
Yeah.
And what I like about it is she's actually going through this evolution earlier than you would think. She says she's only 16 in the movie, which I thought for sure she was 18.
Sure, she should be a senior.
I think she should be because they like rule the school already, and as a sophomore, you wouldn't rule the school.
Yeah.
And so she's 16. And she's already thinking about like how to better the world and like worry about things other than herself and like progressing as a human being. She's evolving. I'm like, oh man, that's like actually pretty. There's accolades to be given for that because she's so early to the game as far as that evolution.
Sure. Can we talk a little bit about how Alicia Silverstone holds her mouth?
Yes, we can.
It's fascinating to me.
It is.
She, if you just watch like just a few minutes of it, like she kind of talks out of the sides of her mouth, out of the top of it. I don't know. Just like it's just very interesting how she holds it. And I'm one who also holds her mouth weird sometimes, but she really does.
She has just an interesting mouth shape too. Like just in general, her mouth is shaped in a very interesting way. You kind of like keep staring at it.
It's so
and she
weird to
talks
talk
about
about
it at a moment. She even says in the movie, she's like, always draw attention to your mouth. So they like look at your mouth or whatever. And I was like, dude, for you, like that's easy peasy because like it's hard not to look at your mouth.
I love it. I think the other thing for me that's like signature about her performance or of Cher is like her pitch and voice sometimes, and like when she does like the whiny stuff and she has like this like vocal like flip that she does, like I'll try to find a good clip to see it. But...
When she is Christian first comes to the house on their first date or whatever, and she's like yelling down at her dad and at Josh at Paul Rudd, and she keeps going, "Daddy, he's here!" And he's like, "Well, let him in or whatever." And she's like, "I can't. He has to wait at the door." And then he's like, "I'm not gonna do anything about it." And then she's like, Josh! It's so funny how whiny she is. I laugh my ass off.
Daddy!
What?
I can't just open it. I have to make him wait a while.
Then he can wait outside.
Josh, please! Come on, Josh! Come on.
I knew you thought it was funny.
I thought this movie was dumb.
You hated it. You hated it. After this, though, she doesn't go on to do a ton of things. So,
Batman and Robin.
Yep. I mean, that's the very next year. She does Batman and Robin. She's Batgirl in it.
Yep, she's Batgirl.
Yep, Batgirl.
Barbara Gordon.
Yes. She did another movie called Blast from the Past around this time, too.
Okay.
I think it maybe had Brendan Fraser in it.
Gotcha, okay.
And then after that, I was kind of looking through. I didn't see a lot of things that stuck out to me. She did do a TV show a while back called Suburgatory. Do you remember that?
I do remember Suburgatory a little bit.
So she was just a love interest for a little bit, but get this. The dad in Suburgatory is the actor who plays Elton in Clueless. Elton, the guy who comes on to her, and she's like, "No, I don't." Like she tries to hook him up with her friend. He plays Mr. Elton in Emma, if you know that character.
Oh,
anyway,
okay,
so he's
Mr.
the
Elton,
dad of the girl in Suburgatory, and like this is his like grown up like love interest is her.
Oh,
Which I think is so fun.
That is fun.
Yeah, and I haven't seen this yet, but apparently Babysitter's Club, she's also in that, the new reboot of that.
Babysitter's Club, like the old books?
Yeah, did you know that there's a reboot of that?
No, no idea.
Yeah, I think it's like a TV show series reboot.
Was it, when you say reboot, like there was a first one? There was an original Babysitter's Club besides the books?
That's a good question. I don't remember. I should know that because I read those books. But I don't remember. Did I watch the TV show? Was it a TV show?
I didn't read all the books, but I read a couple of them. I remember liking them.
I know people are screaming at their iPhones.
95! Babysitter's Club!
I can't remember. Okay, get off me. Anyways.
Feeling in it.
Decent.
Decent, there we go.
Feeling.
I was trying to use it. I was like, dang it.
Anyways, that is pretty much Alicia Silverstone summed up.
Well, I think she is cute as a button. Kind of like Drew Barrymore in Ever After a little bit, like same vibes as far as that. Like
Similar
this
time.
is just a good character for her to play.
Absolutely.
She hits the comedy so well. She's charming. She takes what could be an annoying character and makes it really charming and fun. Which is one thing. Back to Legally Blonde though, like Reese Witherspoon, I thought was a little more on the annoying side compared to what Alicia Silverstone did, where she was just so cute and charming.
I want you to know that you do not have to compare this to Legally Blonde for
I
the rest
do.
of the podcast. In
And
fact,
I
I think
will.
I would prefer if you didn't.
No, I have to.
All right, fair enough. Something too, just a fun little trivia fact that I'll weave in with Alicia is during the debate scene when she is kind of towards the very beginning of
She
it.
does a couple of them.
She does a couple. The first one where she's talking about immigration and she's talking about Haitians and
Yep.
people coming to the United States, and she compares it to like a dinner party or whatever.
Yes.
She mispronounced the word Haitians. She called them Haitians.
Haitians.
She didn't know. That was an accident. And everybody on set, like the other people, production wise, were like getting ready to like stop, like, oh, go tell her that's wrong. And the director said no.
Oh, it's
No
brilliant.
no one say anything, and don't tell her that she said it wrong, because I want, like, the character of Cher has to be confident. She has to know that she's right. Like, so she needs to say the word Haitians or Haitians wrong, like, confidently.
So
She needs,
did-
because like that's a part of her character. She's like, I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. So did she say Sporadicus wrong too instead of
No,
Spartacus?
that was
Oh,
that
okay.
was
that was
that
fun.
was intentional.
Yeah, we're watching the movie Sporadicus.
No, that was
That
that
was
would have
really
been great. Sporadicus. No, but I just love that little behind the scenes thing. It's like, that is so perfect because her character is, she has that cockiness, and like, yeah, she's like, don't anyone correct her.
Yeah. And, I mean, she has it with when Christian picks her up for the date and he's like, do you like Billie Holiday? And she goes, I love him.
That's so true. Again,
That
it just
was
like
fun.
comes back to like this Clueless thing.
Yep.
The whole theme of it. Oh, one more quote that kind of goes along with that. So when she is leaving the fake love letter to the teacher from the other, she's trying to play matchmaker, right? And the quote that she has is a Shakespeare quote that she writes on it.
Yes.
And it's like, it says like, rough winds do shake the darling buds of May,
Uh-huh.
blah, blah, blah. And her friend's like, oh, that's so beautiful. Did you write that? And she's like, no, it's like a famous quote from Cliff Notes.
Yeah. And she's like, where's it from? From Cliff Notes.
Cliff Notes. So great.
Yep.
Set up and spike. I love it. I love all of their, cause that's like kind of like the humor of this. There's so many high-minded comedy pieces like mixed in with just like this goofy teen. It's like teens kind of talking out of their butts.
Yeah, she has this one
which
moment.
is so teen-like.
She's talking about their house. She's like, these columns are classic. They date all the way back to 1972. Or something like that. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Oh, so great. Or I've got, sorry guys, we're just going to get into like fun little quotes here. Another one, when they're talking about the character Amber, she calls her, she's a full-on Monet.
Oh my gosh, it's so
She's
funny.
a full-on Monet. It's like seeing a painting. Far away, it's okay, but up close, it's a total mess. That's so great.
That is fantastic.
I wrote some of these down so that I can start to say them more often. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're
We're going to work it into my everyday speech.
Yeah, for sure. That's in your vernacular now.
I love it. Let's jump into Paul Rudd a little bit, and then
Okay.
I'll just randomly talk about other random trivia facts.
Sure.
So I kind of said before, so this was actually his first movie that released, but his second movie being filmed. Paul Rudd is exactly who you think he is. He is a joy to be on and around set. Everyone
really?
loves him. When this wrapped, he ended up buying like everybody presents for it. And the girls, he got them necklaces that have a grain of rice and it had their name inscribed on the grain of rice. I don't know. Maybe that was a cool thing in '95. I don't remember the grains of rice, but it sounds like something like a boy would get for girls
For
who
sure.
doesn't know what girls like.
Yep, definitely. For sure.
I think it's so sweet. But he, for a long time, he kind of bounced around living-wise before this, but for a long time he lived in Overland Park near Kansas City.
Yep, because he went to KU.
And he went to KU and he studied drama there.
Yep, and he met Neil LaBute there.
Yes, and they became besties.
He was one of my favorite playwrights. Yep, and he was in Shape of Things, which
Yes.
is one of my favorite plays for a long time, if not my favorite play for a long time.
Yeah. So in the movie, he actually wears a KU hat, and
Yep.
that is his actual hat. And he was kind of sad because they ended up losing that hat
Oh,
on the set, so he had to
no.
get a new one. But he actually, I have a section about fashion we can talk about here, but a lot of fashion in this. He ended up wearing most of his own clothes for
Sure.
this. Like, that was his own Amnesty International t-shirt. It was
Okay.
his own KU hat. A lot of the things that he wore were just his. So you should just, again, he's exactly who you think he is. He
Nice.
probably was pretty similar to this Josh character.
How sad would you be if you found out
Don't.
Paul Rudd was like abusive to like assistants and stuff, and like really mean and like would
no.
fire him, kind of like the Ellen stuff right now that's going on?
Aw.
How sad would you be if it was Paul Rudd?
Heartbroken.
Me too.
Like, that's like Tom Hanks level for me. Like,
Yeah.
I would maybe get a little misty and I might cry. I
Mhm.
might cry
Well,
about it.
okay, so imagine now you're me in 2010, and the Mel stuff's in full fledged. You got
Ty.
Harrison Ford. Everybody keeps coming out about what a dick Harrison Ford is backstage.
All your heroes.
And you got Brett Favre sending wiener pics. You've got like all your heroes are falling around the same time period. Yeah, that'd be like Paul Rudd falling too.
He could never fall because he was student body president in high school. Like, he is who you think he is. He just is.
Very cool. Overland Park, by the way, that means he's rich. He comes from wealth.
Well, his
Richest
dad
place,
was.
richest county in America.
I don't know. I mean, that might be now. This is back in the 80s, maybe. Maybe it wasn't as. Maybe it was like just a development. His dad was an airplane pilot.
Rich.
So I don't know if that really
Super rich.
fits in with that.
Pilots for sure for an airline.
And I forgot what Mom did.
Dude, some of the kids, because we have an airline major in Mankato.
Do you really?
Yeah, and
Oh.
so they come here. They place students here from like international students.
Sure.
They'll tell me about like their airlines that they're going back to, and I'll be like, "So how much are you gonna make for that? Do you think?" And he's like, "I don't know. I'll probably start off around 150,000."
Oh my gosh.
What? I
Wait,
mean, this is
what?
for Saudi Arabia, which is like there's oil money there and stuff. But they'll
Sure.
tell me like, yeah, they usually start you off around like 150.
Oh my word.
My gosh, I don't know if I'll ever make 150,000 collectively at this point.
neither.
I'm making such dirt money right now in grad school. I would have to be in grad school for like 15 years.
Yeah, we have to stop the bleeding.
Yeah. Jeez.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
so
there you have it.
His dad probably
Always
gave him money.
can be a backup plan.
Doing the airline program.
Always think about that.
Yeah, pilot program. Sure.
And basically, this movie ended up launching his career. Like, after this, it was Romeo and Juliet,
Yep.
then What Hot American Summer. He was on
Which,
Friends.
let me tell you, think about this.
Yeah.
So he plays Paris in Romeo and Juliet. And then you have what I would say, I'm sorry, my buddy Seth's probably going to get on me about this. I'm going to say Leo was a mediocre to rotten Romeo.
Oh.
And
ooh.
so, what if
Hot take.
Paul Rudd played Romeo opposite of Claire Danes?
I mean-
how cute would that have been? He would have infused it with a little more comedy and a little less like soaking. My hair's so wet and perfectly parted.
babe,
and I don't know how to deliver text, so I'm just gonna try to drip it with romance for everything. That would have been so awesome. I think you would have done a good job.
I would like to disagree with you, only because Paul Rudd is just too good of person. He's just too sweet.
Romeo
To
should
play-
be too sweet.
No, Romeo.
Was I not sweet when I played it?
I mean, you were. Yeah, no, you were great. You were great.
I feel like I kind of played it like Paul Rudd would play it.
I mean, Romeo is so moody, and he
He
just
does
like,
get moody,
he
but he's
does.
also like silly and he's a good
He's
friend.
sweet,
and-
but
falls in
not.
love
He's
easily.
not like. No, you want him to be more like a Leo type, like that.
No.
From an actor
I think
standpoint,
he should be
Leo.
more likable.
No, Leo is a better
No.
Romeo than Paul Rudd would be. But that doesn't mean that I'm more attracted to that. Like
I
I'm
think
not
that
attracted
Romeo's.
to the
I think
character
Romeo should be fun though. I think
He
Romeo
could be
should have
fun.
fun. You
He
should
could be
laugh
more
during
fun.
scenes. You should
Sure.
think like this Romeo's pretty charming and fun, not just
Sure.
like oh my me.
Well, that's a part of the thing.
Yeah.
Romeo is that. That is what we're making fun of within the play is young star-crossed
But
lovers.
imagine he's just more charming and less boring and creepy.
I think he could handle it, but I don't know.
Just give him a chance.
I think he's a lovely Paris. He
no,
probably was a
'cause
lovely
I think Paris is. I don't know.
Just smiling
yeah,
and
he is-
beautiful.
he's a
Smiling and
cute
beautiful
Paris.
and who you should be with.
Yeah, but I've seen it's interesting when Paris is a jerk too. The one we're doing right now, Paris is not a jerk, but I've seen Paris as be like a kind of a jerkhead,
Sure.
and so yeah, I do like a sweeter Paris more than the jerk Paris. But I think jerk Paris is also kind of fun.
That's fair. After the filming, just more Paul Rudd things. Paul Rudd and Brecken and Donald all lived together for a few weeks.
Oh my gosh.
They lived in Brecken's house in New York while they were kind of like jumping off and figuring out where to go from there after all of this filming. So it's fun. They all kind of talked about their living together for a little bit.
They had to live in L.A. though, or film in L.A. right?
Yes, it was
But
filmed
they
in
were
LA.
living in New York for a short time?
This is after it. Yeah, they moved back to New York because I think Donald was from New York. Paul, I don't know where Paul was, but Paul was living in New York for a couple of weeks. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyways, I thought that was interesting. Okay, so there was a part of the movie that when you were watching it, I said like,
Sandwich.
"Hey, pay attention." So Paul Rudd at one point makes a sandwich
Yep.
while he's talking with Alicia
Yep.
or Cher.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes it a little funny. Ty, what is it that he does to the sandwich that makes it a little
Yeah,
weird?
it
when
was
he does
weird
it?
to me because I'm particular about my sandwich making
Sure.
as well. So he pulls out the bread, the meat first, and then he pulls out the bread. He puts his slices down. He puts I think it's turkey, and he puts turkey on one slice, and then he brings out the mayo. And instead of mayoing the top of the bread slice, which is what I would do,
Yeah.
and then
most
I
people,
put lettuce
most
on the
people
mayo.
would put the mayo on the bread.
He puts the mayo on the turkey or the ham or whatever it is, and he mayos the meat.
Yeah.
And he doesn't put any cheese or any lettuce on it or anything. It's just mayo and meat and white bread, it looks like. And he just slaps that other piece on it. And then he like curls it up and almost eats it like a burrito.
Oh,
He
I guess
doesn't
that's
like
weird too.
He doesn't eat it like a sandwich. It's like folded. It was weird.
That is very weird. So Paul Rudd hates condiments. He doesn't like mayo. and he had never like really had it before. Like he just doesn't eat his sandwiches that way. And so like when he was nervous about the scene and he was like making the sandwich and like he was just kind of like was kind of forgetting what he was doing.
Yep.
And he like butters puts the mayo on the turkey, and he says that watching that scene now is like nails on a chalkboard. He's like, "Oh my god, I don't know how to make a sandwich. It's so bad."
So why did he do mayo? Because they said like, "Hey, we want you to put mayo on the
I think
sandwich."
they just they had like, "Here, you're gonna make a sandwich. Here are your things," and he's like, "Oh, okay." And like you need something to do while you're talking. You need busy work. So yeah, he's like, "Here's mayo, and I'm gonna put it on." I hate mayo.
There was a show that I did, and maybe you'll be able to refresh my memory. And I like tortured myself because I would eat peanut shells in the show.
Peanut shells.
Yeah, like instead of just eating the peanut out and like sucking on the shell and spitting out, which is what I do in real life, I would eat the peanut shells.
What?
And I would be like, I don't really like them. They kind of upset my stomach. And you were like, why do you keep doing it? And I was like, I don't know. It just feels like my character would do it. And you're like, that's stupid. And in hindsight, I'm like, yeah, that is stupid. But sometimes when you're in the cities,
Brutal, Rach.
I would eat peanut shells during a show
What?
because I thought it's what the character would do. And now in hindsight, I'm like, what the heck am I talking
cannot
about?
think of what you would have been in.
Well,
Where
I
there
would be
have been
eating peanuts.
Yeah. Sweeney Todd, were you eating peanuts for anything?
I don't think so.
You guys drank
'Cause I
beer
would-
on stage.
Eesh.
Oh, sorry.
That was a secret. That was only the last
The
show.
last
And people think
show.
that's really unprofessional, so thanks for outing
I
me,
didn't say
Rach.
what company or where, but just
Ah.
in general, it happened.
It did.
There
It was
might
the
have
last
been
night.
a beer on stage for people in the bar scene.
Yep. It was after I was
Yep.
done with Pirelli. Pirelli was dead.
Yeah, you had already sung, so you were off.
More hot pies. More hot. More pies.
All right, more tidbits. Breckenmeyer, so the skater
Yep.
character in this, he did most of his skateboard stunts in this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he actually skated to and from the audition. And when he describes where it was a very long skate. Like, he had to skate across the freeway to get to the audition.
Was he teaching himself skateboard or was he already good at skateboarding?
No, he was already good at skateboarding.
Okay.
Yep, he was a skater
Well,
in school.
The fact he could do that half pipe and stuff, that's really
Well,
impressive.
here's the thing. He did get injured in that scene. And
Oh,
he
okay.
didn't do all of it. So most
Yep.
of the scenes are him skateboarding, and I think he does a little bit of the half pipe stuff.
Uh-huh.
But he did get injured during
Okay.
that part. So not quite
Like
ready
how
for that.
injured, do we know?
I don't know.
Okay.
But he was standing up after that. So probably just
Unless
like
they
a
filmed it
sprained
out of
ankle.
sequence.
That's possible. I didn't look into that. That's fascinating that you
Yep.
bring that up.
Maybe.
Yeah. But he and Donald are very good friends. Obviously, they went on to do Can't Hardly Wait after this. They were in that.
Were they and Josie and the Pussycats together
And they
too?
were
They're in the band?
They were du jour.
Yep.
And they actually.
Oh gosh, what's their song? Not Rub One Out. That's together. The Together rival band. Rub one out, baby. Don't be shy. This one's a
So
different one.
bad.
Oh my gosh, it's something about. Is it about anal?
Oh, gosh.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Backdoor Lover.
Yes, it is. Backdoor lover. Ba-da-ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum-bum-bum. Yep.
So I was watching an interview of these. It was like a reunion interview for the 20th year, so just a couple of years ago. And Donald had actually wanted Brecken to help him pitch, I think to Netflix, a du jour reboot. But it was going to be like, 20 some years later. Like,
Sure.
what are they doing now?
Yep.
And so they weren't really interested at the time. But hopefully at some point Netflix will get excited about
That
it.
would be funny.
Fun tidbit about Brecken. He's actually a ghostwriter for a lot of movies.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know which ones. They don't say. But he actually...
Because he's a ghostwriter.
Because he's a ghostwriter.
He's a ghost.
But he's nobody knows. But during this interview, Donald was kind of bragging about him. He's like, he's written some of your guys' favorite movies, and you don't even know it. I saw that. That was really cool.
Ever seen Inception? That was him.
Whoa, what?
Yep. True
That
story.
would probably be the craziest
Yeah.
movie that you could tell
Moonlight?
me that he wrote.
Him.
I don't think that's
It
those
was
kinds
him.
of movies.
I'm telling you, bro.
I think
That
it's
was him.
more like his best friend is like Seth Green. So I think it's more like those kind of movies.
Oh, okay. But also Moonlight and Inception.
But also
Yep.
could be those ones. So Donald, the character Murray, he had a huge crush on his co-actress.
Mm-hmm.
I'm blanking on her character name, Stacey Dash.
What's her
Dion.
Oh, Dion.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
Big crush. Super excited that he got to kiss her in this. He was super nervous the day that they were going to do. There's a famous scene. One of my favorite scenes is the freeway scene.
Yes.
Where
the
they're
freeway
driving
scene is
on the
hilarious.
where they're driving on the freeway. Dion's driving. She's screaming. She doesn't know what to do. It's
Yep.
crazy. They accidentally get on the freeway. It's
And
it.
then it's
If you've
like
seen it, you know it.
The motorcyclists like go right past him, zip by on both sides. The semi's like honking its horn like in Terminator 2, like it's gonna crash into the car. It's
So great.
so funny.
Hilarious scene.
And they're all just screaming.
So yeah, big crush on her. Was so excited that he got to kiss her that day. He actually, his braces,
Yeah.
they're fake.
Uh-huh.
I think we probably knew that going in.
Sure.
But he had to have braces on because he had an extra like little tooth. He has kind of like weird teeth. If you've ever seen his like
He's got a little baby
teeth,
tooth.
he
that
has like
pokes
a
out?
little baby tooth, and so to cover that, they had him put on fake braces. And he jokes now he's got like veneers. He's like, now
Sure.
I got my teeth fixed. But like I think in Scrubs too, he also had that little baby teeth
He's got
too.
a little baby tooth.
This
huh?
is like
I've seen people with
two
those.
teeth that just kind of like share one spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Yep.
like a little squished in there.
Yeah, but a lot of times it just looks like one tooth dominates, and then the other tooth is just this little like thing that pokes out, almost like
It's
it's
a
like a
little
little troll thing that hangs off of you. Like, hey, what's going on here?
Wait, what was it?
It's like, hey, what's going on over here?
Hey, I'm a dude.
I'm a troll tooth.
So the part in the movie where they shave Murray's head,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
they must have filmed things out of sequence because if you notice, they only shave like down the
Yeah,
middle.
it's like a
We never see the sides shaved, and that's because later they needed to have him have hair, so he wore hats a lot of times. But when he took that off, he had this like shoehorn or this like horseshoe
Oh,
shaved into his head,
no.
and he got called George Jefferson all the time on set. That's like their big thing. I just think that's so weird that they would have like done that out of sequence, but they must have had to.
Yeah, they would do everything out of sequence pretty much in
Sure.
movies. So.
But very tricky.
Yeah.
Knowing like, oh, don't shave it all. We
Yep.
need the sides still. This is fun. So during one of the other scenes, that's a fun one, the party scene, they're playing a game called Suck and Blow.
Yes.
Ty, have you ever played the game Suck and Blow?
I have.
Have you?
Yes.
Oh, can you tell us about that before I tell you this?
Okay, so Suck and tell you about the game.
Tell us
or
about the
us
game
story?
and your experience.
So,
Like, yeah.
if you don't know anything about Suck and Blow, Grandma, it is, you boomer. It is a game where you hold a little piece of paper up. It's usually small, like a small square.
Mm-hmm.
And you suck it in, and then you turn to your partner. It's like you guys have made a little line, and then you blow it into your partner, and your partner then sucks it, and then they blow it. So what happens is inadvertently, Suck and Blow will fail, and you'll end up kissing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what the game's all about. I played it, which is interesting because I must not have failed the game because otherwise I think I would count this as my first kiss. In 7th grade,
Ooh.
my buddy Jared Langle invited a bunch of girls over to my house in our garage, and we played Spin the Bottle. But in Spin the Bottle, instead of kissing in front of everybody, it was like 7 minutes in heaven. So then you went into a bathroom with
Oh,
somebody.
very serious. You're taking it up a
Yeah.
notch. My
Yep.
gosh.
But nothing ever happened. You just talked.
I
in there.
remember this. You shared this with when we talked about Teen Wolf. I
Teen
think you
Wolf,
talked
yes.
about your 7
But
minutes
we
in heaven.
also played Suck and Blow
Okay.
that day. And I remember playing Suck and Blow with people, and obviously I killed it, and we never dropped it. So That's kind of my story. What about you? Did you ever play?
I've never played this, but I think you probably did it correctly because you did it with paper. So in the movie version, I don't know if you noticed, like someone brings out a credit card to play with that.
That seems way harder. It's way heavier.
So when they were playing or when they started it and did it, nobody could get it because it was too heavy. So they ended up drilling holes in it to make it easier.
Why didn't they just change it to paper?
I don't know. Maybe they did, but maybe a source told me they drilled holes in it. I don't know. It's fact-checking stuff. But anyways, they had to fix that. And then they also had everyone in the cast put chapstick on because that would like help stick it to people's like lips. Like, oh, it's so interesting.
Which the one guy who has a crush on Alicia at the beginning of the movie, he like
Elton.
Yeah, Elton pretty much ruins the game so he can kiss Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a good move.
Nice, Elton.
Sweet move, Elton.
Very cool. I want to talk about the fashion in a little bit, but any other characters that you want to talk about?
Not that are really coming to my mind. Okay. No. I thought that Christian could have been funnier.
So Christian, tell us who Christian is.
Christian is this guy who shows up at the school, and he looks just like James Dean. Mm-hmm. And
if you know Emma, he's Frank Churchill, if that helps.
Sure, yes.
Book buff.
So he comes in, and she's attracted to him. She starts sending herself flowers and candies and stuff to try to lure her away. Mm-hmm. And then he finally like asks her out, and they go out, and you just see these little moments where like he's kind of like dancing with a guy for a second, or like he's looking at a dude, or like there's just little hints that
he knows
he's
her
gay.
Fashion really well. He is a really nice dresser.
Yep.
All kinds of things.
And then he won't have sex with her if she thinks they're gonna finally do it in one of the scenes, and then nothing happens. So she realizes they're just friends.
Yeah.
But I thought that his character could have been more funny. To me, I thought he was kind of boring and stale.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yep, and I wanted more charisma out of him. I thought he was just kind of blah.
Sure. One of the things with that character that they wanted him to stand out from the other high school boys, so they gave him like a different era. So, everybody's in the 90s, and so they had him be like this Frank Sinatra type with like the pants and the hat and like the old school car. Like everything was just very like 50s, 60s kind of.
And her dad makes fun of him too.
Oh yeah,
he says at one point, "I have a 45 and a shovel, and I don't think anybody's gonna miss you," or something like that. Like he's gonna kill him. And then he says, "Oh, does the Rat Pack have an opening? I don't think they'd want you," or something like that. It's so funny.
Yeah,
So
Sammy Davis dies. You think there's an opening in the Rat Pack? So good. Yes. Gosh, so many good characters. My favorites are probably we haven't talked about Brittany Murphy yet.
No, we haven't talked about Brittany Murphy.
Isn't she delightful in this?
I love her little chipmunk cheeks.
She's so adorable in this. Also, one of her first movie things. Although she and Brecken, the skater guy, had actually they played opposite boyfriend and girlfriend and other things before this too.
Oh, gotcha.
So
okay.
They knew each other already. But she was so good in the audition that Alicia Silverstone took it upon herself to be like, "Hey, I think that's the girl." And she makes fun of herself. She's like, "I know the casting director probably already knew, and it wasn't really my place, but I just felt compelled to say hey, it needs to be her, right?" So everyone just raves to on set. She was just the sweetest, and she just had so much energy. I think seeing enough of Brittany Murphy films, for the most part, you can kind of get a sense for what she was in real life. I think she takes a lot of herself, even though she does 8 Mile and things like that. Mm-hmm. Very what a range, right? Yep. But yeah,
that movie with Ashton Kutcher where they just got married and they're going through Europe.
Yeah, I actually like that movie.
It's my favorite Ashton Kutcher movie.
Whoa!
Yep, easily.
Easily?
Yeah.
I can't think of a lot of Ashton Kutcher movies, to be perfectly honest.
I think it's pretty annoying.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I think that's kind of a fun. I like that movie.
Yeah.
It's fun. Oh, too bad you've seen it. Man.
But no, Brittany Murphy is really good. She's really cute. Mm-hmm. It's fun to watch her character take on elements of the rich kids as the movie progresses.
Yeah, she kind of becomes this walking, talking nightmare Cher. She kind of creates a monster a little bit out of this wholesome, sweet, not wholesome, I guess, because she comes in talking about drugs and whatnot.
Yeah,
but just she just is a sweeter person, and then she gets very materialistic, and it's funny.
It's really cool to watch Josh continue to be nice to her too. Paul Rudd's character. And that relationship developed too, where there comes a point where you're almost wow, that would be cool if those two got together. You don't even mind that she has feelings for him, and you're yeah, I think they maybe should get together.
Yeah, I think they would make each other laugh, and they'd be very happy together. They both have just Bright spirits.
Yep.
I love it.
You don't think that we mesh well.
I was like, why am I even listening to you to begin with?
You're a virgin who can't drive.
Yeah, I thought she was excellent. I thought he was excellent as well.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else you want to talk about?
Not that I can think of. I thought the little scene with the teachers and stuff, like her first conquest of hooking her two teachers up, her not guidance counselor, because she talks about like social issues.
I think it's like her social studies teacher and then her debate teacher.
And then her debate teacher, or speech teacher or something. Yeah. So she gets them together, and I thought that whole sequence was pretty cute, and they're both really quirky, and I thought that was nice. That was fun.
Yeah. Sweet. The gal teacher,
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of her name in this, but anyways, the female teacher, she's actually really, really good friends with the director, and she helped a lot with a lot of the creation of it as well. And the director actually has a cameo in the wedding scene. She's her maid of honor.
Oh,
so it's
gotcha.
kind of fun, right? It's weird kind of thinking that this movie that's so iconic and that feels so like fluidly like a teen movie, that it's written by people like the teacher. Like the teacher like is like of that age. Like adults are writing this movie for kids, but it's taken on so well.
Because, Rach, have you ever seen a script devised by high schoolers? It doesn't look like Clueless. I'll tell you that right now.
it's not quick-witted and sharp.
I know
and
you're
funny.
surprised that this is written by 40-year-olds, but I'm telling you it had to be, because if you saw anything written by 18-year-olds, it's awful.
That's so true. I just want like kids to remember, like, you might call people boomers, but like we get it. I'm not saying we like I'm a boomer, but you know what I mean? It's like I can write you something that's like clever and funny, and I'm not too old. I'm cool. I'm hip.
Well, here's what I wonder. So we graduated in 05, and these guys are technically like graduating. You said the movie came out in 96?
95.
95. So they'd be graduating in 97 then. And so this is a movie, I think, is that the end of Gen X? Or are these the beginning of millennials?
It's right in the range there.
Okay, because we're at the end of millennials.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if this is the beginning of the millennial age.
Yeah.
So they're technically our group.
Technically.
I don't know.
Maybe. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
No one
It's a
knows,
mystery.
and nobody could find out. So no one better
There's
try.
no way to even look it up.
Don't write it in the comments.
All I say is you know a Gen Xer when you see one.
What does that
And you
mean?
know a millennial when you see one. You know a Gen Zer when you see
I don't
one.
know how I feel about this.
You'll just know.
So some fashion. Cher had 63 outfits.
Oh my gosh.
In this.
What was your favorite? Because I'll tell you what my favorite was.
The yellow plaid.
The yellow plaid is
The yellow
so
plaid
cute.
is
It's
iconic.
It is adorable.
It is the one item that was splurged on because it's an actual, I didn't write down the name of the designer, but it's a famous designer. Everything else they got for a pretty good deal. Like, people would be shocked at like how reasonable some of the
It's not like
pieces
Devil
are.
Wears Prada where you wear a $200,000 necklace or whatever.
No.
Stupid.
People would be jealous to know that Alicia got to keep a lot of the wardrobe, but she
cool.
ended up giving a lot of it to charity.
That is so Cher.
So
Oh my
Alicia
gosh.
Cher. I love it. One of my favorite scenes, I bet you can guess, as a kid, and even now as an adult, is at the beginning when she's showing us the closet, and it's the computer closet.
The computer, yes.
And it's like almost like a dry cleaner system where she like has a computer screen and it all just comes around and she matches outfits. I thought that was amazing, and I still think it's pretty cool.
So here's where my mind went though. When she's working with that computer and she tries to match up two things and it says not a match, it made me think like, who programmed that? Like somebody, a computer whiz had to come in and program this computer to work for this. And were you standing right next to him and you're like, those two would never match, like make that a non-match? Like this would be a long process.
Very long process. A lot of programming and
I think
coding.
there's a story to tell there. Maybe an extra or something.
I think you're right. So that's one of my favorite scenes. The freeway scene is one of my favorite scenes. What are some of your favorite scenes?
I like the scene. And this is so, you're going to say, of course, stereotypical Ty. Ty would freaking love this scene. That's so silly.
Wait.
Do you want to guess?
No, I want you just to believe me when I say that I know it. Should I say it?
Go ahead. You tell me what's my favorite scene.
Your favorite of all time?
Favorite scene in the whole movie?
Is it kind of sentimental? Is it a little sweet?
A little bit.
Okay, it's when she's getting ready for the date, and she comes down the stairs slow, and Paul Rudd's like looking at her, and he's like, "Oh, like I think I'm in," and then he decides like, "Hey, I'm gonna go keep an eye on her at that party or whatever."
Mm-hmm. That's not the moment.
Darn it!
Nope.
Thought I had it. Okay, what is it?
It's the moment where after she gets in a fight with Brittany Murphy, she starts like shopping, and she's going through this monologue about like, why would she like this, or like this, they wouldn't even be right for each other. And she's like wandering around, and she's like, what is going on? She has this huge internal monologue, this debate with herself. And then she's walking in like the town square or whatever, and then she walks right by this fountain, and then she goes, oh no, I'm in love with Josh. And then she smiles.
I'm butt crazy for Josh.
And then the fountain lights up and starts up. I think it's so funny. I love that scene, that where she works through the internal monologue and then comes to that realization with that beautiful moment, the fountain lighting up and starting to go.
That.
That's my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Well, that scene is actually taken from a movie called Gigi. No joke.
Not Gigli.
No, Gigi. Like an old, like...
Somebody looking for Gigi?
Somebody looking for Gigi?
Oh, somebody looking for Gigi.
No, it's like a 1950s film, Gigi. It's kind of follows a similar story about like an older brother type figure taking care of or like coaching, mentoring this young woman who then like transforms before his eyes type of thing. Yeah, Gigi. Look it up. Google it. Gigi. Anyways, that's like a big moment in that as well, and so they stole that actually from that, so it's very funny. Yeah, you like that
I
so
love
much.
That was so good.
I really loved Josh and Cher's back and forth, like
yes.
the it kind of it starts off sibling-ish. Oh, I think it's time to get into it, right? So Josh and Cher are technically ex-stepbrother and sister.
Yes.
Cher's dad and Josh's mom used to be married, and then they got divorced. And this, she said it was like 5 years ago. But Josh, this Paul Rudd character, still hangs around sometimes and still hangs out with Cher and her dad.
Because her dad is actually like helping.
He's a lawyer. Josh wants to be an environmental lawyer or some sort of a lawyer, so he's mentoring him.
For sure. And you can tell like he's kind of rude to Josh, but you can tell there's love there too. Sure. And that he sounds like he doesn't have a good relationship with his mom, and that this is just the one parental figure he can connect with. Yeah. Is her dad. And so that's why he's over a lot, and he's kind of mentoring him, even though he's like his lovable jerky self, the dad is.
But it feels a little problematic because she's not 18
like she should be in this script.
Oh,
that's part of the problem.
That's part of it. That is part of it.
Part
she
of the
should
problem
be 18.
is she's too young.
Yeah,
she's
16 is
she
weird.
says she's 15 at one point in the film because Brittany Murphy goes, I'm turning 16 in May. And she goes, well, as somebody older, my birthday's in April. Let me tell you this.
and
not because she's then 16 and Brittany Murphy's 15. I realized, oh my gosh, she's 15 at the start of this movie?
Yeah.
And then she says later in the movie, she goes, I'm 16, so you just imagine the passage of time has happened.
Sure.
Like it's been a whole year.
Yeah.
And so now she's talking about being 16, but you're still like, Paul Rudd is working with other lawyers. So he's not like a freshman in college, I don't think. I didn't get the sense he's a freshman. I got the sense that he was late college, getting ready for law school, if not in law school.
I don't think he's in law school yet. I think he's maybe doing pre-law.
Okay.
An undergrad.
As an undergrad.
I think he's still undergrad, but you're right. It is problematic.
I mean, how old did you think he was? I thought he had to be 20 at least.
22.
Yeah, 22 sounds
22.
right, because I think he's over 21. I think he can drink.
Yeah.
I think 22 sounds right.
Yeah. Which he probably actually was pretty close to that age when they filmed this.
Yeah.
22.
So he's 22. Yeah. She's 16.
She probably was pretty close to 16 as well.
So there's my biggest problem with the movie. I know it should be, my biggest problem should be
that they were related.
That they were related for a period of time.
Of.
Not by blood, but by marriage. They were stepbrother and stepsister, and then their parents got a divorce, and so they're technically not.
That weirds you out more.
The age weirds me out way more than the brother-sister part.
Yeah.
Because
interesting.
I mean,
what are you gonna say?
Paul Rudd. It's Paul Rudd.
It's Paul Rudd. If he was your brother,
if he used to be your brother, he's not your brother anymore. And in fact, she corrects him several times. He says like, I'm your brother, and she goes, you're not my brother. Like she says it multiple times, and then I think he even says it later in the movie where she's like, you're like my brother, and he goes, I'm not your brother. So like they say they like they toy around like they're related, but then they know they're not related. Just like it's kind of like Cruel Intentions, where he's gonna have sex with
Oh,
his
I thought it's not how I thought you were
stepsister.
gonna say. I thought you were gonna talk about like in Emma, because in Emma the way so they have that like
Badly done, Emma. Badly done indeed.
yes, thank you for that segue. They have that kind of like that big brother little sister mentorship relationship, but actually, so they have. Do you maybe you don't remember how
cousins?
They're not cousins, but Emma's older sister is married to Knightley's brother.
So they would be married brother-sister combos, or brother-sister combos that were married
they're
to each other.
brother-sister combos when they get married. So they
Yep.
have like their aunt and uncle to the same kid
Uh-huh.
without being married.
So-
and now they're aunt and uncle again, but with marriage.
Oh my gosh, there's a movie we watched recently where a mom and dad were like getting married, and then their kids fell in love, and it was one of those things where it was like, is this weird or not?
And gets the Brady Bunch.
No, it's not. So mom and dad are getting married, and then like technically, I guess kind of they weren't brother and sister when they first got together, but they technically are going to be brother and sister, but they're still in a relationship at the end of the film. I can't think of what
Wait,
movie it is.
what?
Yes. Okay.
No.
Yeah. So
That's weird.
You find out because these two were like together, and then mom and dad, they find out, are like getting together, and you're like, wait, mom and dad can't get together because you two are together. So you guys, when they get married, you're technically brother and sister, but you're going to get married because you were together before that? It gets really convoluted. I can't think of what movie it is, but that happened.
Man.
And so
Oh man.
I kept thinking about that, and I was like, well, that's not fair for the first, it's not fair for anybody that they're not like,
Okay, I'll be honest, this is not what it is, but in P.S. I Love You, at the end,
Yes.
she is getting ready to date a new guy
yeah,
in Ireland,
Uh-huh.
and she brings her mom to Ireland to see it,
yep.
and then she runs into this guy that she had hooked up with before, and he's like, oh, I'm glad to see you back.
Yes.
Hey, this is my father. And his father then is like, oh, nice to meet you. What a
the
beautiful
mom.
lady.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Maybe that's
that might be
one
it.
of the options.
Where it's like, okay, the mom and dad are gonna get together, and then the son and daughter are gonna get together. Like that's kind of
that
interesting.
could be weird.
So, okay, how weird do you find the fact that they were at one point stepbrother and stepsister, but now they're not? Can they get together or not?
I mean, legally, yes.
Legally, they for sure
Legally,
can.
you can. You're not related.
But I'm talking about the court of public opinion. I'm talking about the court. Rach is the judge of social norms.
Okay.
Are you allowed to get married when your parents got a divorce and you guys were stepbrother and stepsister?
Yep, I hear you. What I will rest my ruling on is one of the parties Paul Rudd. If one of the parties is Paul Rudd, then yes.
What if
Yes, you
it's
may.
not Paul Rudd, but they remind you a lot of Paul Rudd?
It's not good enough. It's not good enough.
They're very similar. They look alike.
Is
They
it
act
you?
alike. Well, let's just say, yeah, we used to be stepbrother and stepsister. We find that out now. Do we have to get a divorce?
For me, no. I'm saying in public opinion. I'm ruling on someone else's, but that doesn't mean that I would ever do it.
Okay.
No, that's a hard no for me.
No, we find out. Oh my gosh, this is really embarrassing. But our mom and dad were together, and like at one point we were stepbrother and stepsister, but we were so young we don't really remember it. And then they got a divorce and they got back with our original parents, and so like nothing ever feels weird at all to us. Just go with it.
Just go with it.
Now, what do we do now? We find this information out right now. What do we do?
What do we do?
We're cool, right?
I guess so.
What does the audience think?
Audience, that's a great segue for
Public
our
poll.
question of the week. Would you or wouldn't you date your stepbrother or sister
Who's not anymore your stepbrother or stepsister?
post-divorce?
Yeah.
Second divorce.
Is it wrong or is it right?
Is it wrong? And
Or
do
is it
you want to
so
be
wrong?
right?
It's right.
There we go. That's it.
It's wrong, but I don't want to be right.
Oh my gosh. Any other favorite scenes you want to talk about?
Otherwise,
Otherwise, I have a few more quotes that I want to just like put out there to get people talking the lingo again.
Oh, what'd you think of all that ska music?
Loved it. I loved it. They went to a party and there was ska, you guys. It was
Yeah,
so
there
fun.
ska.
Nothing takes you back to the mid-90s like a good ska band. Like,
It's so true.
I
'Cause
know I was a baby in the 90s, but boy, does it feel nostalgic for me.
Because that music was only popular for like 3 years. So it's really
Oh,
a snapshot
so
in
great.
such a small period of time. It's unbelievable. It's
Yeah.
like, there you go. From 95 to 98. I hope you enjoyed it because it's gone now. It's not coming back.
But could it come back?
I don't think so.
If we made a petition and had people sign it to bring ska back, don't you think it could come back?
I think there's other things that would happen before ska music would come back. Like, I think rock music with strings. Like, there's other kinds of music that can be developed to be, like, new and interesting. I think ska music just sets you in a time period so much right now that I don't think it can.
Great.
But then again, I could be wrong. Because synthesizers have come back.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, they were back a little while ago. So, like, from the 80s, there's like, let's get back to the 80s style music.
I'm hearing that.
So maybe ska could get back.
It can come back.
Could
Bring ska back.
Could grunge music come back?
I hope not. I'm not really a grunge person.
Yeah, you're not a grunge baller.
Not a grunge baller, Ty.
What about her complaint about men dressing and how unfair it is?
Oh, yeah. So fashion-wise, so this is also the time when guys wore the baggiest of pants below the waist, belts on, below their butts. Yeah, and she talks about how, like, it's not fair. Like, guys just, like, roll out of bed and look like that, and they expect us to fawn over them. She's like, as if.
Yeah, for sure. Which, ladies, I'll say that your style in the 90s I think is really cute, but maybe it's because I'm a child of the 90s. And so it brings back fond memories. I'm a stomach guy, so, like, seeing midriffs, I'm like, oh, that's hot. So, but I just thought, like, the 90s style I think is cute and charming on girls.
It is.
On guys, we wore such baggy T-shirts and baggy pants, and we look like goofs.
Yeah.
And it wasn't good for us, but it was good for you guys. I think you guys are cute.
For the most part. I would say that hats were very, like, big in the 90s, and they were not very, like, cute hats. Like, think of all the hats that were in Clueless. Like, there were some really weird looking hats.
I can't think of any hats.
Like the hat that, like, Dion wears at the very beginning. She wears a lot of hats in it.
She does. Yep, you're right. She does.
There's just take a look at 90s hats. Just go Google that. And there's
Google
just, like,
90s hats.
Like bucket hats. There's just, like, I don't know. Maybe it's cool. Maybe we could bring it back at times. But there's just some goofy ass hats.
Okay. Hey. I don't know if you have this on your format, but.
You know I do.
Why did Legally Blonde and Mean Girls get turned into musicals before this?
This got turned into a musical.
Is it good?
I don't think so. Well,
this
here's the thing.
would be a great musical.
I thought the same thing.
This
and
is
so
way
get this.
better.
It was made into a musical, and it was in NYC in 2018. And it was a part of a group's new groups season. I don't know what new group is, but it was a part of their season, and it only just ran like that one time. But it was a jukebox musical. How great would that have been?
So it did all the songs from this, like the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones and like
I don't know if it had that per se, but it had like Kids in America
at the very top.
And there's the supermodel song, I Wanna Be a Supermodel. But then, get this.
And then there's a crying song too in one of the sad parts where she's, oh gosh, what is it? I can't remember. But anyways, there's like a nice sad song in it. All by myself.
Yeah.
Yep.
All by myself. Yeah. But the director, the writer, she actually rewrote some of the songs too so that they made sense. So that she changed some of the lyrics to some of these jukebox musical songs. Like, it just seemed like it would have been perfect.
It sounds like a slam dunk.
It really does.
And you know what I think killed it? The fact that Mean Girls and Legally Blonde happened before it.
Yeah.
I think that then made it so it's not original and we don't care about it. We already have these other two shows.
Another white girl musical, blah, blah, blah.
And because even though I think Clueless was way better than both of those movies.
It's the OG.
Mean Girls is a good movie.
Sure.
Mean Girls is a good movie.
Sure.
But Mean Girls doesn't hold a candle to this movie. Clueless is way better.
It is.
It really is.
And I'll be honest, I didn't remember it being better, but watching it now,
it's way better.
So it's very smart for a movie that's called Clueless and that has such like what you think are kind of airheaded characters. It is really smart.
Now, do you think Legally Blonde and Mean Girls got the green light and this gets poo-pooed because this is from the 90s and not like the mid-2000s, late 2000s? Is it because the Mean Girls and Legally Blonde were so more recent and that people remember them and like teenage girls and college-age girls are like, yeah, let's go, this is going to be awesome.
No, but
rather than Clueless is from the 90s.
Clueless.
People
it's based on Emma.
People don't know Alanis Morissette. She was from the same time period. People don't know Alanis Morissette.
I think what's like frustrating about that is that sorry, rant, here we go. Like even just like this last year at Target, some of their clothes were very Clueless inspired. There was a yellow plaid dress that was like
Did you get it?
No, I didn't.
You should have.
I know. But
why didn't you get that?
Focus. But like so much of the fashion that I've seen since you coming back to school, like, and just like seeing college age people is so entrenched in the 90s
for sure.
that the fact like
Yep.
people can like take the style but not know who Alanis Morissette is drives me bananas. Like, you can wear crop tops and the gray, yellow, and plaid like dress, but you better do your homework.
Yeah.
You better do your homework. If I'm going to go around wearing stirrup pants from the 80s, I'm going to do my homework and know who wore them first. Like, you just have to.
And I just think from a storyline perspective, this would make such a better on-stage show
It would.
than either one of those other two shows.
It's Jane
like
Austen.
hands down.
Come on.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so funny. It's so charming.
Yeah.
It's tremendous. What are we doing
Maybe
here?
somebody is working on it, but that's last Saturday. That was 2018. So that was only 2 years ago. So maybe it is going to get, once things are up and running, maybe it'll get a reboot and it'll be huge.
I know. And it's one of those things that, like, I know musicals make so much money and they're like the big hits, but what if it was just a play? What if it was just an awesome, hilarious, wonderful play?
Mm-hmm.
That would probably work.
That would probably work. Another thing that might be kind of exciting, and I don't know if this is through Netflix per se, but they had announced that they are looking at making a remake of it.
Oh.
And it might be like a TV series.
Okay.
But it would focus around Dion.
Okay.
More so.
Sure.
Than Cher, which would be cool. And so get the premise of this. The premise is that Cher has, disappeared, gone missing. And so, like, it's all focuses on Dion and, like, taking her place.
As the new Emma, hooking people up?
I don't know. I don't know. It might ruin it in some ways a little bit, but let me read this verbatim for you because I think it's very interesting. This one review says, this as a baby pink and bisexual blue-tinted, tiny sunglasses wearing oat milk latte and Adderall-fueled look at what happens when the high school queen bee Cher disappears and her lifelong number 2, Dion, steps into Cher's vacant Air Jordans.
Has it already been made?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
The series will be centered, so this is like a future.
Oh,
this is
gotcha.
what it will be about.
Okay.
I don't know. That
It
person
feels a little...
that person sounded really upset about it.
That's what I thought.
And
I thought it feels strong language. Like,
Yeah.
we're not excited about this? No, like...
And to be honest, I don't know that they know anything because Cher would not wear Air Jordans.
No.
Cher wears platform heels. She doesn't wear Air
she
Jordans.
would never wear Air Jordans.
I don't know. Deadline was the person who, whatever that is.
Deadline,
Do you
you
know
were-
what? Do you know what Deadline is?
Dude, you mad, bro?
I guess so. Anyways, so that's something that we can look forward to. Maybe the musical will get some legs.
Oh,
I
I
hope
hope
so. I hope so too. But after the movie was made, it had a spin-off TV show and it had 3 seasons. And I didn't remember it, but I actually watched it.
Oh my gosh.
I was looking on YouTube. I was like, let me see a little bit of this. And it's one of those things, when you watch the opening credits for something and you're like, that looks familiar.
Yeah.
Wait, I bet that character's going to do this now. Oh, and then this person's going to make that weird face. Oh my God, I've seen this.
Mhm.
So a lot of people were the same on this, but they had a new Cher,
Yep.
a new Josh, and a new Ty,
Okay.
Brittany Murphy's
Yep.
character. But everybody else is the same in it.
Wow.
So Amber, Dion, Murray are all the same.
Yep.
2 teachers are all the same. So it just kind of backpedals it a little bit. So Josh
Okay.
and Cher are not love interests yet. They're still kind of
Gotcha.
like
Okay.
is mid school year or whatever,
Mhm.
right? But yeah, it was 3 seasons and I watched it. And I don't
Was it
think-
good?
No, probably not. It was not. I think you can watch it on YouTube if you want to catch an episode.
No, I'm good.
No, that's fine. We just think
I'm
like
fine.
it just like loses a lot of the delightfulness
Yeah, I'm
that
not
is this
gonna-
movie.
I'm
You
not
don't
gonna
want to
water
don't
this
ruin it for
down.
yourself.
I'd watch Clueless again before I'd watch an episode.
Or you could read the book series.
There's a book series?
There's a book series
gonna
that
read
came
it?
out. I might now. I don't know what age level it's for, but I might read it.
Hey, young adult lit, it's real fun to read.
I would actually hope that it would be like for kind of like older young adult because of just the themes that they talk about. Like I hope they wouldn't water it down so much that like a middle schooler would be able to read it. I think it probably should be a little bit more adult, but who knows? Who knows? It was also a CD-ROM game.
Oh, I saw you watching a video of it or whatever. You're
Yes,
like,
I
"Oh my
needed
gosh,
to
it's a
see
game."
what you can go on YouTube and you can watch the actual playtime of what do they call that?
A Let's Play?
A let's play, yeah,
Yeah.
of it. Which I mean is fun, but it kind of like makes the movie super superficial.
Super.
Yeah, totally superficial because like the activities are shopping and you can give someone a makeover. You give them like a new nose, new eyes, new lip
Oh, okay.
color. You can go into Cher's closet and play with that whole match game thingy. So I mean, it's fun, but it's also it kind of I don't know paints the movie in a way that's like, oh, the movie's that is a part of it, but it's so much more than that.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm just trying to think how they would make a game that would be more than that, though. Like, what would you be doing? Like, trying to hook people up?
No, you're right.
Like play matchmaker? I don't know.
It's exactly what it needed to be.
Yeah,
I think,
it was a cash cow. It was a cash grab.
I think you're right. You're right. It was. And and it's actually based on the characters from the TV show.
Oh, okay.
And not the movie. Like Cher's likeness is not the Alicia Silverstone. It's the other
Sure.
girl. So I think I would probably play it though. I think I would. Like it's like one of those like blow off steam things.
Sure. Yep.
It's like when you watch like the Real Housewives of whatever. It's like it's garbage, but I still need to do it. I mean,
You watch The Real Housewives?
No, I'm just giving an example for listeners.
You watch Basketball Wives?
I don't
or-
watch any garbage.
No?
I'm pretty cool.
Oh. You sound cool.
If it's like that or like The Bachelor, is this something like you need to like watch or do to blow off steam? Mine would be I'll play the Clueless CD-ROM game.
Oh, okay.
Do you think it would work for our
I-
PC? Do you think
Yeah,
it would read
I
it
think it
still?
would run it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Well,
think for
I'm going to
sure.
try to find
Try
it.
to find it on Steam, because Steam.
Steam?
Yeah, then it'll run for sure. There we go.
I think it would be really fun. Oh, goodness. Okay, let's do a couple of quotes from it that I still want to get through. So we know the big ones, like as if, whatever.
Oh my
Those are the
gosh.
big
Yeah, when
ones.
she goes, oh, as if. So funny. It's iconic.
It
When
is.
she said it, I seriously was like just delighted. Yes,
I
there
think
it
that's
is.
it. It's just delightful. Totally buggin'. is
Totally
something-
buggin'.
I'm totally buggin'.
Yep. Uh-huh.
It's one of my new faves. He's kind of a Baldwin.
Yep. She's talking about Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
That's when she's trying to figure out if she's in love with him or not. He's kind of a Baldwin.
I'm trying to think of who we could say that about now, because I wouldn't say Baldwin now. Obviously, we'd have to like pick a new set of like.
Well, the thing
what's
with
a
the-
new family?
The
that's
yeah, because the
attractive?
Baldwins are the family. And
Yeah.
he's kind of a Hemsworth.
Ooh, that works, but
Yeah.
that's like obviously attractive. I
Yeah,
like
that's
Baldwins
really
weren't
attractive.
like
No, they weren't like,
were, like,
that. Hit you over the
money,
head
but,
with
like,
attractiveness.
attractive. But I like Hemsworth. That's work.
Yeah.
That's good.
I just can't think of any other
kind of a
families that are
Hemsworth.
like in that kind of mediocre range.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to say Franco because
No,
that's weird.
no.
He's just
He's
canceled.
kind of a Affleck, because you have Casey and Ben.
Oh, that could work.
Yeah.
That
can
would be that. That's obviously that would be this type since he
Uh-huh.
auditioned for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you could be. He's kind of an Affleck, but that also I don't think about the brothers. So like Baldwin,
That's
I think
true.
of the brothers.
Yeah.
Affleck, I forget. I forget about Casey, and we shouldn't forget about Casey because
Yeah.
Casey's really great.
Although I read some bad things about Casey just last night.
What?
Yeah.
No.
I didn't know. He has some allegations against him, bro, that you would not be
Oh,
happy to hear about. I know. I was pretty heartbroken.
Oh no.
So,
Wah,
I know.
wah. I'll say it doesn't hurt as much as it would if it was Paul Rudd, but it still hurts a little
Yeah, I
bit.
like Casey. I think he's good.
That's another quote to cheer myself up. Here's another one. It's like that book I read. 'Tis a far, far better thing doing stuff for other people. Oh, here's my last one that we haven't gotten yet. This is when she's introducing the character Dion. She's my friend because we both know what it's like to have people jealous of us.
Yep, for sure.
Oh, just so delightful.
I kind of like when she would say things, Alicia would say things that were like kind of existential a little bit, that was like wrapped up in her like Valley Girl talk. And so she was talking about violence in the world, I think.
Yeah.
And then she was it was something about like how do you make the world a better place in a violent world or something. I don't remember the main topic.
Yeah, she was
question.
talking about her debate question was should we censor violence in movies? And she's
Yes.
talking about, well, there's violence on TV.
Yeah, so the news, because the news is so violent. Well, then I think it doesn't make sense to censor our TV until the world becomes a better place. And it's like one of those things that how she says it kind of sounds silly, but then when you think of the words, you're like, oh wow, that's really good and
Yeah.
deep. Like that's interesting.
I like her in her immigration debate where she talks about the Statue of Liberty does not have the name RSVP on it. It does not say RSVP on the Statue of Liberty. There
I
it is.
told
That's
Rach
the one.
when we heard that monologue at the beginning of the movie, her first little speech about the Haitians, that I had a couple students who have done that for monologues in my acting class. It's just really fun, really good time.
That would be a really fun monologue for the right thing. I don't know what
Yep.
the thing is, but it's fun. It'd be fun to put that in the old
Our
rep.
movie monologues. Yep.
Haitians.
Haitians.
Those Haitians. All right, let's get into a little bit of the money, unless there's anything else that you want to talk about before we wrap things up here.
No, I don't think so.
All right, so this is a bit of a sleeper. The budget was $12 million, so pretty cheap.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. They were all beginning stars and stuff. Nobody would cost a lot of money.
First weekend, it made $10 million.
Okay.
So cumulative, $60 million.
Okay, so still made its money back times 5.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Big hit,
Sweet.
obviously, and it has really transcended just teen movies in general. I think people talk about this being one of the best teen movies of ever.
For sure.
Of all time.
I would agree.
Of all the lists in the world. I think what's so great about it too is everybody has like really fond memories of it too. Like the cast, they all enjoy each other. I mean, some of them live together after it. They just seem like really great people to all be around.
Sure.
And they all wish each other well. So I always love that about a film. Post haste. Critics' consensus. A funny and clever reshaping of Emma, Clueless offers a soft satire that pokes as much fun at teens films as it does at the Beverly Hills glitterati.
Cool.
Rotten Tomato score? 81%.
81%. Okay.
Audience, 76%.
Audience lower.
Yeah, they must not have gotten it.
Yeah, they're too dumb.
Idiots. They don't know who Monet is. Dummies. You want to give me your consensus
What
and
do
your
you
percent?
give it?
I give this a 90.
90%.
A 90%, which is lower than First Wives, but higher than like My Girl. And I had something else at 89, but like it's right in there. If you had asked me before rewatching it, what I would have said, I would be like, oh, it's probably in the 70s. It's a good movie, but something about watching it again as an adult, I think I picked up on so much more. I don't know. I just really thought it was very witty. I was surprised. I was re-surprised.
Sure.
All right, your turn.
All right, so here's what I have. Fluffy, silly, and senseless. Alicia Silverstone thinks this movie's good, as if. 43%.
What? You don't like it?
I just played a fast one on all of you guys. Made you all think that I liked it, and I didn't.
You jerk.
Boom.
You're so mean.
I'm just kidding, everybody. Here's my real review.
There's no way. There's no way.
Why couldn't that be real?
Because you were saying it with a smile on your face the whole time. I was like, I don't know. I don't think so. Do you care to try again?
Sure, I'll give it another shot.
All right, I'm ready.
All right.
You're so spiteful.
Clueless is colorful, cute fun that will have you giggling almost constantly as you root for this brother and sister to do it, even though she's 16 and he's probably in his mid-20s. You won't care because, come on, it's Paul Rudd. Clueless gets in 85%.
Yeah.
It's right between My Girl and Can't Hardly Wait.
That's awesome.
Yep. So I actually have this higher than Can't Hardly Wait. I was surprised because I love Can't Hardly Wait. And then I was like just thinking about it and I'm like, man, this movie was just so enjoyable though. I think as a movie, it's just a better movie. Even if I was going to pick one, I might pick Can't Hardly Wait a little bit more to watch over and over and over again.
Sure.
They're just so close.
so
and I'm
much
like,
to
this
it.
movie's just a better movie though. And I have to give it credit for that.
I think that was my other 89%. I think Can't Hardly Wait was as well. And I thought the same thing coming into it. I was like, it's so close.
Yeah.
But I got to give the edge to Clueless. I just got to. Because also, it's like the OG. Of the 90s era. Of the 90s. It's the re-emerging of 90s teen movies.
And looking at 80s John Hughes movies, both those movies to me are better movies than the John Hughes movies.
Oh.
I think so. I don't think Breakfast Club is better than either one of those movies.
Oh.
I don't think
interesting
Pretty in
take.
Pink or 16 Candles are. No.
Yeah. What I'll say is I like these ones better, but I feel like from a critic's consensus point,
for
most
sure.
people would say Breakfast Club is the better
Well,
film.
Breakfast Club is so
It's a bit
interesting.
darker.
Yeah, it's too, and that's why I think why it's too
serious.
serious at times for me that I'm like, I'm not having fun watching it all the time. Like I have moments where I smile and I'm like, I enjoy watching Breakfast Club. It's a good movie. Nobody misunderstand me. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
But like, I would much rather watch Can't Hardly Wait or Clueless or even American Pie. I would pick over
they're a bit
Breakfast
more
Club.
like delightful.
Yeah,
I think
they're easy
just
watches. They're easily digestible.
Just very fun. Fluff, fun, exactly what you want in a teen movie, I think.
Yep.
The world is too hard as it is.
Yeah.
Let's just watch a teen movie.
Just watch a teen
Just
movie.
watch a teen movie, guys.
That's why I'm just so curious on like, what do the high schoolers watch that's just like fun fluff like this now?
Nothing. They have 13 Reasons Why. That's not fun.
That's not fun.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That's not fluff.
It's all the boys I love. That sounds sad.
No, that one's not sad. It's a little fluffier, but still a little bit more serious at times, too.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't know. Just like, what is the straight up fluff that people watch now? Do they have fluff?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think their fluff is like watching like YouTubers and stuff that they like. I think that's where they get their fluff from.
Their lives are so much fluff that
That that they don't have to do it in their cinema. I don't know.
I don't know. They're too serious. Yeah. They're too woke.
Woke kids.
Too woke for this fluff.
You know, it's probably movies that we never watched, like Cock Blockers, which got like a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, that
or like
movie?
Spring Breakers a
No.
while back. That movie got, I think it's in the like high 70s or low 80s.
Impossible.
Yep.
Impossible.
So those are probably the movies, and we just never watched them.
Huh. Well, all right, listeners. If you haven't got it by now, you should probably rewatch Clueless. You'll enjoy it. It's a good one. Yes, technically, we didn't follow the format where Ty hadn't seen it, but sometimes it's the 25th anniversary and you just got to watch it.
We had to do it.
You just got to do it.
One of my best friends, David Loudermilk, he's going to be so happy. It's like one of his favorite movies. He's going to be pumped. He's going to be like, yes!
Shout out to you, Davey.
Davey baby. We ready for next week?
We're ready. We're ready for our last week of summer's off.
It.
Oh, you guys.
This is it.
Summer's over as of next week.
So the next movie that we're going to watch,
Yep.
I need you to get ready for it. Because
mentally prepared.
It is wild. It's the wildest movie I think I've made us watch. And like looking at our list.
Whoa, what? Wilder than Double Dragon?
It's similar. It's
Oh
going to be
my
on par with
gosh.
wildness of Double Dragon. Actually, that's a good comp.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So our next movie is going to be so crazy, Rach. It's going to take elements of Mortal Kombat.
Oh, no.
Mixed in with elements of Teen Wolf.
Oh, no.
Mixed in with, you haven't seen this movie, but like Total Recall. Like craziness.
Okay.
There's going to be some wild shit that's about to happen.
Oh, my gosh.
My buddy Johnny is going to flip his lid. He's going to go out of his mind when he hears what we're going to be doing. This is one of his favorite movies. This movie, I'm not going to say it's one of my favorite movies. I just think it's going to be immensely entertaining, and we will have so much to talk about.
Okay.
This is one where I think your review, you said this as a joke at one point, I think with Starship Troopers, is seriously going to be, what are we doing? Or something like that. I think that's going to be...
Just reuse that.
Yep. Because we're about to watch Big Trouble in Little China.
The name itself just lends to all kinds of craziness.
If you haven't watched this movie, listeners, you might want to check it out as well because it's a wild ride. Big Trouble in Little China, folks.
Woo.
Gear up.
Can't wait.
It's going to be crazy.
See you guys next week.
Hey, James Bond. In America, we drive on the right side of the road.
I am. You try driving in platforms.
Look, I gotta get back to school. Wanna practice parking?
What's the point? Everywhere you go has valet.